with B-Bad and Brandon.
Johnny had the Capo States last weekend, so it's been a busy couple of weeks.
A lot of powerlifting.
A lot of powerlifting,
Yeah.
as we do love a lot of powerlifting. So, but we will kick it off. That is not, I mean, we are a little bit here to talk about that, but also a bunch of other things. I'll let Johnny take the reins here because he does love this question.
Oh, it's a big question. It's really tricky to answer. It is 21 words or sounds if you want to use sounds. Who you are and what you do. Brando counts them all. Watch out.
Okay. I'm Alison Craven. I'm a powerlifter, and I also run a business called PEDTest Australia. So it's a harm reduction business.
Oh, lovely.
I love it. How many words we get, Brando?
I wasn't counting because I heard harm reduction and got actually really intrigued. Because obviously, PEDTest Australia, we've obviously testing performance enhancing drugs. We understood that part, and obviously, what I wanted to get or learn more about, really, and hopefully our listeners do as well, is the harm reduction side of things. Is that the vision? Is that the driving force behind PEDTest?
Yeah. So the idea is we don't test steroids ourselves. We want people to be able to test what they're taking. So people are going to take drugs no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. If you sit someone down and you say that, taking underground steroids are not good quality and it might harm you, they're probably not going to pay that much attention because they already do it and they haven't had any problems, or their mates do it, it's all fine. But when they test it themselves and actually look at the quality and can figure out, okay, I'm taking these 3 products and one of them is absolute garbage or it's got nothing in it, they pay attention to that. And that's when they start thinking about the risks of what they're doing and how to reduce that. So you're getting people to sort of take responsibility for their own risk reduction behaviour.
Yeah. And how long's the business been around for? When did you kick it off?
I started end of 2021, and it only sort of kicked off properly probably mid 2022, so not very long.
Yep.
Oh, so it's a very short, 2022 is only last year.
Yeah. So it's probably been up and running properly about a year.
Have you had much, I guess, I don't want to say backlash because I don't feel that's the right word, but a lot of trouble getting this off the ground?
Surprisingly, no. The only sort of negative stuff we've had is from some of the online forums. The ones whose sponsored brand of steroids aren't very good quality. So some of those, so some of them have been quite negative. And a lot of those guys have also had bad experiences with other brands. So there's 2 other main brands of steroid testing kits you can get from overseas. And one of them, the US one, gives a lot of false positive results. So a lot of people have had a bad time with that and just assume that we're exactly the same. I can see where that's, some people just assume you're doing the same thing, but it's actually, we're quite different to those.
And from a legal standpoint, did you come up against many, what's the word, red tape, or is there any hurdles you have to jump through to get this off the ground?
There's a few tricky things about it, but when we first started, pretty much as soon as I started the business, put up the website and started ordering the gear to manufacture, I had the federal police give me a call and had a chat. Yeah, literally within about 24 hours. And they were fine. They just said, we want to know what you're buying all the stuff for. I told them, and they went, no worries, knock yourself out. We'll give you a call if there's ever an issue, but, go for it.
That's really cool.
They're fine. Yeah. So the kits themselves are legal. They don't contain anything prohibited. They're not, there's nothing about them that's illegal. The only time we've heard of anybody getting in trouble is if there was one guy who was caught for supply of steroids. And he had a test kit, not one of ours, a different different brands, and that was included as drug paraphernalia. So that's the only time I can, that you might get into trouble for it. But the actual kits themselves are completely legal. We're a completely legal business, totally above board, registered, everything else. Yep.
That's insane. It's good, like from a federal government perspective. Obviously, they have a lot of issues with performance-enhancing drugs. That's no secret, and obviously their crackdown. But it's good to see them not really, obviously your aim is to prevent harm that comes from these drugs. And from your experience, have you seen much or seen many bad things go wrong?
Probably the biggest one that you see and hear of is guys who are taking a steroid that's potentially underdosed. So they take this and they think, oh, I'm not a good responder, or, I'm just not getting fantastic results, so I'm just going to take a lot more.
Yeah.
And then if they get a different batch or a different brand that is now correctly dosed, and they think, I need to take the same amount, they could be actually quadrupling the dose and not know. So that's the problem with the dosages being wildly different. If you're not monitoring it, you don't know that you're suddenly taking a huge amount more, and vice versa. And it's not only the steroid in it that you're taking a lot more of, you're taking a lot more of the BA and BB preservatives in it. And they are not good for you in huge doses. So there's quite a few guys who've messaged me and said, now that I'm able to test brands, I've cut down the amount that I use because I don't need to take a shitload of crappy stuff. I just take a small amount of good stuff. So there's quite a lot of guys who've cut down. I know a few guys who've said, I test everything I buy. I cannot find anything that is proper, so I'm just not going to use. So there's all of that sort of stuff going on. But as long as it's helping people make more informed and educated decisions, then that's a win.
I think it's a massive win. Like, as you said, if someone has been taking, say, we're going to use rough figures here, 3 ml a test because, well, it was underdosed for the whole time they needed that. Now they're taking 1.5 mil and getting the same results. They're putting so much less shit in their body, which is not just going to increase better performance and all that sort of stuff, but they're going to feel better long term.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that's in underground steroids that nobody knows how much is in there or what's in there. There could be heavy metals. There could be all kinds of nasty shit. The stuff is manufactured in pretty poor conditions in China. So you don't know what other stuff is there. So, the smaller the amount you can take for the same effects, then that's good.
So will your tests, will they just kind of say how pure the product is versus what you bought, or will it actually say, hey, it's actually got X, Y, and Z in it as well as what you actually bought?
They're colorimetric testing. So this has been used in chemistry since the 70s.
Yeah,
There's a good 400 odd types of colorimetric testing you can do for everything under the sun. So the ones that react to steroids, basically you get 2 or 3 different chemicals. Each one turns a certain color with steroids. So you put 2 or 3 together, and that helps you narrow down exactly which steroid it is. So test E, for example, should go orange, and then a pale yellow with a dark brown stripe for the 3 vials in that kit. If it matches all those 3, it's test E. Poor quality test E will go like a khaki green, orange, and brown. So you can see, okay, the really good quality stuff is going to give nice, clear results, strong colors in the first 3. And then if it's crapper quality, you're going to get the khaki green and the orange, and it'll usually be a cloudy, chunky looking result. And you can, so you can see quality wise what you're getting as well. And then there's another kit for test E that does the potency. So it can only give you a range. It's not as good as a lab test, but it gives you an idea of, is this massively underdosed or not? So it'll tell you whether it's got no steroid, above 100, above 200. So at least you can get an idea. And then if you do that with every single batch that you buy, you don't need every vial in every batch, but just one of every batch, you can monitor whether the colors are getting, going up or down. You can see immediately if they change raws because the characteristics of it will be totally different. And you can monitor from batch to batch what's going on. And if you switch brands, you can compare them.
Yeah, wow, that's insane. That's so, very comprehensive, considering it's, a test you can do at home. Even though, as you said, it may not be the exact, seeing as it's obviously not lab tested, but something that's, you can order online, as you said, that is going to allow a lot of people to make a lot of better decisions, especially when it comes to PED use.
Yep. Especially with a lot of the stuff that comes out of China is pretty shit quality, to be honest.
Yeah,
so it's good that people can at least monitor it.
Yeah, we've all heard the stories of the old olive oil, grapeseed oil in the vials, and like, ooh.
Yeah, I've seen some horrible ones. There's there was photos going around. Somebody sent me a trend that was like raspberry red food coloring in oil, and it had a good 0.5 centimeter of solid gunk at the bottom of the vials. So there's stuff like that gets around. Yeah, there's some pretty horrible ones. There's some really cloudy stuff. There's, some pretty gross shit.
That's insane. I did not think wow. Is there
do you get I was gonna say, do you get much feedback from the people that are using it on what sort of quality is sort of kicking around out there and like what's going on in the space?
About 25% of our customers send their results through to us. So
cool.
We get people to report them back, and then we have a database where we monitor them all. So our database at the moment, I think we've got 140 brands that are currently active in Australia in that database.
Wow.
And we keep all of their results and watching. Like, we can't recommend brands or suppliers because that's illegal. But we monitor and we put out statistics every few months of this is what we've had come in. These are the percentage that are crap, and we, hopefully we can help educate people on what's out there. I don't think anyone realised there were quite so many brands kicking around in Australia at the moment.
I did not. That is quite a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is
that's
huge.
That's cool that people can send those results into you though, and help kind of build that database as well, because that's a nice little knowledge point for everyone when they are sort of shopping around for what they want and where they're going to start sort of keep another way of having a harm reduction, like knowing that they shouldn't buy off X place because you look at the database and that's all rubbish, and they buy off Z place instead because they know that it's a better standard coming out of there.
Yep. So any sites that we know are a health concern, for example, that one where the trend came from, we put them on Instagram posts of please avoid these sites. So there's quite a few where guys will buy stuff and never receive the product. Their money just gets stolen, that sort of thing. So we publicise those. Your regular brands, most of the time they're not trying to scam you. It's that they have no way of testing what they're getting from China to tell how pure it is in the first place and be able to make their products consistent. So if a raw is, 5% cut, that's going to make a massive difference by the time that's put into an oil in terms of the potency. So, there's no way in Australia to get lab analysis. CanTest in Canberra was accepting steroids for analysis, but they've stopped now because of confidentiality issues. Hopefully in Queensland shortly, there's going to be a testing service set up, and they will specifically include steroids as part of that. But otherwise, there's no real way in Australia to get raws analysed and figure out not only how pure they are, but what the other stuff in it is.
Yeah.
I'm actually
that's the scary thing. What is the other stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really cool. Like, I'm actually on your website right now because honestly, I am just very interested. The kits are quite comprehensive. Like, you've got everything pretty much set up for the person to just go and order what they need to test and then go from there. This is like, I don't know, I've just never been exposed to, it's no secret that I've used PEDs in the past, and just, having this sort of stuff available then would have saved me a lot of trouble and a lot of issues. And this is just phenomenal in terms of what you guys can actually do, what you guys can actually test, and your blog and resources here. This is unreal.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Here I am just like fucking, I'm like a kid in a candy store reading all this. This is actually insane. So... But that's actually...
Yeah, there's a whole bunch more products that we want to add. Like we'd love to design one for growth hormone.
Yeah,
but
right.
that's going to be a long-term thing to sort that out, because that's completely from scratch. So there's quite a few other products we still need to get out there.
And you're literally creating these products yourself. That's the cool thing. You're not just buying them from somewhere else and throwing
No,
them
the
together
steroids
with your
ones, you can't buy them from somewhere else. There's nowhere else that makes them for you to buy. But the narcotics testing kits we've got, we import them from France. So they're certified as medical devices in the EU. So they're used in hospitals by police. They're the highest quality you can get. So we get them in as well.
Wow.
So that's another side of the business as well for narcotic style stuff as well. And are you seeing that's a reasonably popular space as well, that people are trying to investigate and look at the things that they're using as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the quality of street drugs in Australia, narcotics, is also really crappy. So, it would be great for people to be able to double check anything that they are going to put into their body. For example, with cocaine, we can test not only that it definitely is cocaine, but what the cutting agents are. So we've got a test kit that identifies, I think, about 6 or 7 different cutting agents that could be in it, and the purity of it as well. So, and same with ecstasy, we can do identify it and the purity of it.
Wow.
And then we've got a bunch of ID kits for all kinds of stuff, even designer drugs and all that sort of thing that you don't see very often.
Yeah.
Wow. And what's your background? Like, have you studied anything along the lines of this, or this is something that's come across from purely personal experience?
My background is I'm a geologist. So I worked in mining for a really long time. Yeah, very different.
Makes sense.
But as part of that career, I ended up getting into the chemistry side of things. I used to rent out analytical equipment for people and train people to do analysis. And I also spent a lot of my time on quality control for labs.
Yeah, right.
And procedures for quality control and sampling and this, that, and the other. So as part of that, I do a heck of a lot of chemistry for that type of work. And then once I got into the gym and just being the science background, as soon as people going, oh yeah, I take PEDs and I buy it from some dude that makes it in the garage, I'm like, oh my God, please tell me you test this. They're like, what are you talking about? And I got online and I found, okay, there's not many options for testing this stuff. It's easy to do in chemistry. It's been done for decades. I'm like, well, if I can't get decent test kits, I'll just make some. So I started just making them for friends, and it kind of just snowballed from there.
That's insane.
It's pretty good.
I can't believe, like, it's just, I guess, from geology to biology, chemistry, almost. Like, it is. I can see the link there from once you explain the story, and of course it makes sense. But that is just crazy. And I mean,
it's quite a change.
Until I really even heard of you guys, like, the last place I heard of to test performance enhancing drugs was you had to send it away to America and then wait 6 weeks.
Yeah. So we can't possess steroids ourselves in order to do product development and so on. So what we do is we get donated samples sent by, so people in WA can donate samples. A third party then sends them off to Europe to get analysed. And then we use those results to design kits. And then we send trial kits to anyone in Australia who wants to try them out. And then the results of all of those go together, and that's how we design new test kits.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be the tricky loophole. It's not like legally you should be jumping on the internet and buying your own and having a whole bunch of your own stuff floating around and testing on that, right?
Yeah, but we can't do that. So we rely on our customers doing all the testing for us. Yep.
Well, look, I will happily test more products for you. Not saying, not admitting to anything here, but if I must be a human guinea pig, I will gladly offer my body of course, for all science, and definitely not because I want to be bigger, stronger, faster. That's definitely not it.
We announce on Instagram when we have free trials coming out. And if anyone has like a weird steroid that, I don't have test kits for, they can contact me and I'll happily send them a free trial kit to have a go on it and see if we can sort of come up with a kit. So,
That's insane.
And that's kind of the vision and the direction you want to take the business, is just really be across literally everything that's available out there, and have some sort of kit to be
Yeah.
able to reduce harm for everyone.
Yeah, we'd like to be able to cover all the major steroids that everybody uses, orals and oils. We've also liquids. Liquids are trickier to test.
Yep.
But yeah, we want to be able to cover all of those and raws as well.
Is it something you want to see a bit more commercialized and be available at something like a chemist?
It would be good. I think that's probably a very long way off. It would be good to have kits available at needle exchange clinics. Places like that would be fantastic. And we are talking a lot with clinics and a few medical professionals and the guys that do research on this sort of thing. So we want to be getting more involved in the government support for harm reduction services, because there's not really much in the way of like a private company doing harm reduction stuff at the moment. It's all government based, sort of thing. So it would be good to get a bit more awareness and support through government of this sort of thing is out there and available.
But surely, from a government's perspective, say I go to grab some needles from the exchange clinic that is already government funded. There's free needles there. I grab that. I grab one of your kits. I test my stuff. It's fake. I'm not going to use it. So surely, from a government perspective, it is going to entice people to not use things, to reduce the overall use, which is only going to benefit everyone.
Exactly.
Have you been in touch with many government bodies, or is it just a real fuck off process that you've started but you just don't want to go through?
It's hard. It is hard because as soon as you mention steroids, you tend to get shut down. So I've had a chat to quite a few forensics labs and university labs and so on, and it very quickly gets shut down. So I think it's one of these things where it's just persistence over time. Eventually it will get more and more accepted as a thing, and I want to start going to some of the harm prevention conferences and sort of doing presentations there and so on. Try and just get it more of a accepted thing. It's testing steroids. People being able to test their own steroids at home is not a common thing in Australia. It's just not heard of. So it'll take time for it to become more of an accepted thing.
Why do you believe it is such a fucking taboo, for lack of a better word? Why do you think it's so touchy?
Everyone assumes that my customers are Olympians trying to scam their way to a gold medal.
Right.
The instant thing is they assume anyone who would want to test a steroid or whatever is someone in a tested federation trying to cheat. Whereas that's not my customers at all. They're all bodybuilders and, strength athletes in non-tested federations. So it's that instant you're helping cheaters that puts people off.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
That's what I was wondering. Like, what do you get a bit of a cross section of what your client base looks like? Is it powerlifting, bodybuilding, strongman community? Is there what's the word? Image enhancing, like just guys and girls just trying to look better through PEDs? Like, is there just a cross section of everyone, or is there a more popular space that's sort of there?
It's a mixture of everybody. I would say the biggest population is the bodybuilders. Most of them seem to be Queensland and New South Wales. I've got quite big customer bases over there. And then I would say probably your general, gym guys are quite a big bunch of that as well. And then you get your powerlifters and so on at sort of the smaller end of the scale.
I love that Queensland and our sunny beaches are doing us proud with selection. It's good on them.
Everyone wants to look good at the
100%.
beach.
That's exactly where my head went to. And you know what? I don't blame them. I do not blame them at all. That's pretty funny, actually.
It's quite ironic that the state with the strictest laws on steroids is the ones which seem to have most of the steroid users. It goes to show that just regulating the shit out of it doesn't really help.
So each state has their own laws or variations.
Yes.
Different. Wow.
Every state's different.
That's, again, another barrier to entry to try and get more harm reduction shit out there.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have it all universal and unfortunately, every state is completely different. And even just trying to, like, needle exchanges in every state are totally different.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can't say I've
There's no
explored
universal approach. Yeah, whether like I have a saved story on my Instagram which has all the needle exchange locations for each state, and just trying to find the information on some of the states of where the needle exchanges are was hard. Some states, every chemist is a needle exchange. Some states, there's all kinds of differences between them all.
What state, from my own curiosity, what state is a chemist fucking needle exchange?
I know that WA, some chemists here are.
Oh, wow.
You have to ask them beforehand to see if they participate. They get to choose, I think, whether they participate or not. But some of them, yeah, you can walk in with your, sharps box and they'll exchange it and give you a pack of needles.
Wow.
So it's worth finding out if your chemist in your area does the same thing.
Yes, especially if you live in WA. Bloody hell. That'd make it so much
There is
better.
another state that does it as well. I can't remember which one, though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know this.
That's probably one of the big things that I would, I want to help change as well, is most steroid users seem to just throw the needles in the bin. And it would be really good to get people disposing of them correctly because they are medical waste. And there's a lot of, whenever I post anything on appropriately disposing of needles, you get a lot of irate people are like, it's fine. I've been told I'm allowed to put it in the bin, blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, you can, but it's not the best thing to be doing, particularly when you can exchange it for new needles as well. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's a reason why it's called the needle exchange, not just the needle fucking take what you want.
Yeah.
Humans are funny.
Yeah, you can get sharps boxes at Officeworks and your regular chemist, any safety store, like where you buy your high-vis gear, you can get sharps boxes there.
Wow.
Yeah, they're available all over the place if you can just buy them on eBay.
Yeah. If I found that a lot of people, I think, because there's such that stigma attached to needle exchanges or taking these products, that you do find they tend just to go to eBay where it's cheap as shit and get it delivered half the time for free anyway to your door to save yourself that hassle. So again, that's putting another limit on trying to dispose of the waste correctly.
Yep.
I don't envy you. I've just realized sitting here, it's like what you're doing is very noble, and I'm like really fucking excited to start testing some products, allegedly. But fuck the headaches that it must come with, the red tape you'd have to cross, and this mission is obviously needed, and it's fucking, again, tip my hat off to you for doing what you're doing. But it does seem there'd be a lot of red tape and hassle to try and break through.
Yeah, particularly if you want to get funding or you want to, I would like to get some research grants to do some, more stuff with this, but, trying to get that across the line is tricky. But in general, it's good.
Internationally, is there other countries or other places you see doing similar or even a better job, or it's easier for them to operate in to do stuff like this? Or
I know Europe, in terms of harm reduction in general, Europe is leagues ahead of us. In terms of testing narcotics and so on, it's a lot more common over there. Whether they do the steroids as well, I'm not sure. The only other brands I know of, there's one in Canada and the one in the US. So, even worldwide, testing steroids is not hugely common. I know in the US, the police and whatever have their own brands of steroid kits that are the same sort of thing. Yeah.
And as a business, did you see that as opportunity for yourself to be able to market overseas as well for your testing kits?
I sell to New Zealand at the moment, so we can post over there as well. I don't really want this business to get too big to be. I'd rather just keep it to Australia and New Zealand. I don't want to take over the world.
It'd be really cool to see Australia lead the way in harm reduction. We've had a few guests on our show now that not sure if you know Tim Piatowski. What he's doing is phenomenal work in the space. obviously what you're doing is almost pretty much is groundbreaking in Australia, and giving people the opportunity to make better decisions, or even more educated decisions, rather. Sorry. So I would really love, as Johnny said, to go international would be great, but man, we have a really big opportunity in Australia here to do something that is world leading and reduce harm across the board.
Yep, absolutely. There's so much that could be done.
Fucking oath, and you're leading the charge. Well done.
Thank you.
Now, let's switch change a little bit. Did I hear you're a bit of a powerlifter yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Not
fantastic, but yeah.
Hey, you're talking to two fantastically loving powerlifters who could also be classified as that. What got you into the sport?
I used to do martial arts. So for years, I used to compete, and I need competition to keep me motivated because I am just lazy as shit otherwise. So
guilty.
Once I had kids, like training martial arts, at nights and weekends just became too hard. So I needed something else to do. And I decided I hated cardio. So what else is there? And, ended up starting to lift weights and found that I really loved it. So got into powerlifting and sort of took off from there. So I've probably been doing it 4 or 5 years now.
I reckon if we just polled every lifter in Australia as to why they started powerlifting, the term "I hated cardio" would probably come up very frequently.
Yeah.
That's
screw that.
Fucking oath.
Absolutely. And obviously a huge supporter of powerlifting too. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen your logo on some shirts. Obviously you throw some sponsorship around to some gyms and competitions as well.
Yeah. The PPC crew, they're a big team here in WA, probably the biggest at the moment. So, sponsoring them to help them get across the Pro Raw and other comps around the place. So it's nice to be able to just help out with the sport.
100%. Give back.
Yeah.
Especially you do a lot for the sport, but in more the ways than one now as well.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to help out, and it just helps get the whole idea of harm reduction out there.
Yep.
So the number of people that assume that I'm promoting steroid use, but we're not.
Yep. Yeah, I think that harm reduction conversation's it's a good one because you hear it talked a lot about in recreational style drugs. That's been something that's been talked about for a long time, but poor old steroids just seem to be left out of the conversation and taboo topic, and nobody essentially cares or wants to know about it, and just police it and try and bash it out that way instead.
I just love the fact that your company's called PEDTesting or PEDTest Australia, and people automatically assume that you supply it.
Yeah. I would get emails probably half a dozen a week asking me for steroids.
Wow.
We cannot supply. We don't recommend. No, that's not what we do.
Yep.
My faith in humanity seems to go down lower and lower some days. PEDTest.
Nope.
Go to the website.
Yeah, well, they just saw the word. I think they just saw the word test and got excited.
Yeah, PEDTest. Yeah, you know what? Fair. Very fair point there, actually. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, probably more powerlifters because we're not typically the sharpest tools in the shed, are we?
I would unfortunately have to agree.
Oh dear. And for training for yourself, mate, are you gunning for nationals over this Hunter Way yourself, or what do you hit for next competition for yourself?
Hopefully GPC nationals would be good. I'm doing Capo States in a couple of weeks as well.
Lovely.
Nice.
Just because it'd be nice to do both federations for once. And just as part of the business, even if I don't qualify for nationals, I'll be coming over to the GPC nationals and Capo and invitationals, and it's an excuse to head along to comps and go and chat to people. And
well, every comp's a tax deduction for you now.
Yeah, it's great.
This is true. It's better off.
Yes, that entry fee's a tax deduction. Buying food and drink for you to be at competitions a tax deduction.
How good's business?
Competition, the whole thing. Fucking excellent.
I love that. But
Yeah.
we will both be at GPC Nationals. Wait, will you, Johnny? Yeah, you'll be.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
coming down, Kevy.
So we'll both be there, and I think we both will be at Capo Nuts as well, actually.
Yes, you're coming, Brando. Good.
I can't miss a trip to Adelaide. It's a tax deduction.
Yeah. Yeah, Adelaide's going to be red hot. Would you do both nationals if you qualified into both?
Oh, hopefully. I don't know about
Yep.
the GPC one. If I don't qualify for the normal nationals, then I'll go and do the Masters one. There's some
Oh, yeah, of
advantages to being old. Yay.
How old are you?
So, 43.
No way.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. Maybe it's the 1080p that we're recording in. It's making you look 10
Got a
years
good
younger.
filter.
Yeah, must be.
Yeah.
'Cause, fuck, I'd like to see a driver's license, birth certificate, any sort of form of
I
identification.
certainly sound 43 today. Oh, my goodness.
Ugh.
So where do you see your business sort of 5 years from now? What's the goal?
It would be nice to be able to get involved in government harm reduction programs. So the government has a lot of harm reduction policies that they do. So it would be nice to get involved in research. There's all kinds of ways that you can improve harm reduction in Australia. So I'd like to get involved in all of that. Eventually, the kits are going to have to end up being manufactured overseas or somewhere else once it gets too big for me to manage. But for now, it's manageable. My consulting work that I do for the mining industry is now a minor part of my job. Most of it is this business. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
wow,
so good.
That's super cool.
Fuck nice.
So yeah, in that 5 years' time, you'd be, and I'm sure probably way sooner than that, you'll be 100% this and no more mining consulting.
Yeah, which would be good because mining is, that's a cyclic industry that goes up and down, and you can't always rely on it.
It's a whole nother animal, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I've done that a long time. I really want to get out of it.
Yep.
Well, fucking, we just found out you're 43, so we assumed it was a long time. I'm so baffled by that. Fucking hell. Anywho.
Yeah, and it must be cool. Like the thing, so me and Brando really enjoy. Like you don't work a day in your life when you're doing something you really love, and like you live for gyms as well, and you're just playing in that space as well. Like that's a pretty rewarding spot to be in.
Yeah, it's awesome. I really love it.
That's unreal. And always curious question. With part of the testing stuff, do you ever get any horror stories of people sending you like, before I was testing, this sort of stuff used to happen to me, or heard about this and that? Or...
Most of the horror stories seem to be to do with infections.
Yeah.
So many people get infections. And one of the scariest things is where people will assume that all infections are because they didn't swab properly, whereas most of the time it's the vial. So people will inject, give themselves an infection, clear that up, and then reuse that same vial again and give themselves another infection. So if you do get an infection, throw the vial out, get rid of it. It's not even worth risking if that's it or not. Just throw it in the bin immediately. But yeah, the number of people who are like, oh yeah, I'd get huge infection and I would just get a big drawing needle and draw it out myself. That will, I don't think people realize that can actually make an infection a lot worse if you do it yourself.
Hold up. Sorry. Dumbasses are putting the fucking drawing back needle, a fucking 19 gauge in the infection and just trying to suck it out.
Yeah, because they've got this massive, cyst.
Yeah.
And they try to empty it themselves because they're scared to go to emergency, which I can understand because there's a lot of times people end up in emergency and the first thing, they think is I'm going to get given shit for being on steroids.
Yeah.
But, people in emergency see much worse. They're used to, every other kind of drug user under the sun. They're not going to judge you. So it's definitely worth going to a doctor and getting it done properly.
Maybe it's because I'm a bit older now and done it for a few years and I have a very good relationship with my doctor. But, yeah, just go to the hospital. Honestly, that's not going to be the weirdest thing. You know what? I
No.
had a nurse tell me that someone came in with a fucking bottle of sauce up their ass. You're fine.
Yeah.
You go into the fucking emergency room with a fucking infection is fine.
Yep. Yeah. It's nothing compared to what they see on a daily basis.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
I'm
So infections
shocked.
are a big one. Yeah. A lot of people, something is extremely common is people getting a drawing needle and taking from one vial and then another with the same syringe.
Yep.
Even if you take the needle off and use a fresh needle on that syringe for each one, you will still cross-contaminate. Changing the needle is not enough to prevent it. So all you need is one of those to have microbes in it, and now you've infected all of them. So there's this also idea that the BA and BB will stop anything from growing in a steroid. They don't. It'll stop it from having microbes when you buy it, theoretically, if it's been made properly.
Yep.
But if you introduce microbes into it, then chances are some of those are quite happy living with the BA and BB, and they may not multiply and get huge, but they can still be in there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, certain types of bacteria and so on will quite happily survive in vials. So does hepatitis. You don't want to be cross-contaminating between vials. Never, ever share a vial with another person. There's more a thing in the US where you can buy big vials. So guys go halves in one and share it between them. But yeah, there's very simple things you can do to prevent getting an infection.
And that's some very good fucking takeaway advice there for anyone who is listening who potentially may be dabbling in some form of, performance enhancers or narcotics. Be smart about it. Do your research. Get shit tested. It's also, just want to point out, I just was on the website. It's fucking cheap. Get it tested.
Yeah. We've deliberately tried to keep it as cheap as we can so that people aren't put off the idea of testing every single batch. So every time you buy a batch, you should test one of the vials. So we keep it cheap so that people can buy in bulk and test lots of things.
100%. It's the fucking way to do it. Now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we start to wrap things up, this is probably the greatest part of the potty. Not that the last 45 minutes hasn't been.
That's been good too.
It has been very good, but we actually ask you 10 of the most random questions you will ever hear in your life, because we want to know more about Alison Craven behind the PEDTest test. I will now hand over to Johnny for, again, as I said, the most 10 random questions you'll ever experience.
All right.
All right. Alison, you're Neo in the Matrix. You can have the red pill and find out the truth, or the blue pill and continue not knowing. What are you taking?
Probably the red one.
First, you probably got to test it, though.
Yes.
That was actually really funny, Johnny. I can't deny that. You're so chuffed with yourself.
Yeah, find out what's in it first.
I was pretty happy. About that one. Favorite lunch item? What's the best thing you can eat for lunch?
I'm gonna say a roast chicken sandwich with crispy chili oil on it.
Oh, damn, that'd be tasty.
That is fucking the best answer we've had.
I go through those jars of chili oil constantly.
Damn. What movie setting would you like to live in?
Fifth Element.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Love that movie.
Best advice you've ever been given?
Don't worry what other people think about you. They don't even like themselves.
Oh, I like that.
Brilliant.
What question would you ask your pet?
Oh, goodness. I have birds and crabs, so I don't know what I would ask them. Probably what it's like to be able to fly would be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah. You want to eat a cake or a pie?
Cake.
Yeah, cake's nice. What board game or card game do you dominate at?
Monopoly. I'm the Monopoly queen.
Yes.
Yeah, so many people.
Even playing with my kids is brutal.
We've had so many people answer that that I actually want to create like a platform podcast Monopoly night.
Monopoly game.
Yeah, where like we get the people who've just said, they're the best at it, get them in, fucking put money on, like actual money on the line, and just watch you all tear each other apart.
Yeah. Well, I grew up with 3 sisters, so we would all play Monopoly, and it would become this cutthroat, first person to go to the toilet would have all their money stolen type game. It was great.
That's fucking unreal.
It was good fun.
What would your next tattoo be if you wanted to get one?
Oh, I've been debating this for a while, actually. I want to get a sleeve done, but I can't decide what I want. Probably something with Artemis in it.
Cool. I like that.
That's sick. But yeah,
Favorite
trying
pizza?
to decide. The place down the road here does a Godfather pizza, which is, amazing. That's my favorite by far.
Yeah, fucking oath.
You've got 1 week to live. What are you doing?
Oh, that's a hard one. Probably go to Canada. Actually, no. There's a place in the US. So back when I was a student, I got offered a free trip to the US to do an honours project, and I went, yeah, fuck it, why not? And I spent 6 weeks digging up dinosaurs. So I would probably take my kids over there and do some of that.
That's cool.
Yeah, wow, that is pretty cool.
Did you find any dinosaurs?
The best one I found was a penis bone from a big dinosaur.
A big penis bone.
A big penis bone, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna straight up say that's probably the best answer or anything I've ever heard on this fucking podcast. Did you keep it?
No, unfortunately, the mob that organised that trip kept those. I got to keep some other fossils, so I kept things like giant fish scales. So these are 30 million year old armoured fish, and they have these big scales on them. So I kept a bunch of those. Stingray teeth, bits and it was all kinds of cool little bits and bobs. So all the ones I needed for my projects, then I got to keep all of them.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool as shit.
It's an awesome place in the US. It's in the middle of this desert, and every rock that you kick is a fossil. It's just the most amazing place.
Holy
shit. That is actually pretty cool. Fuck, we need to talk about that for the next fucking episode.
Yep, we'll go round 2 and do dinosaurs and penis bones.
Dinosaur and penis bones is a great title.
I could talk about that for ages, yeah.
Mate, thank you so much for your time. Obviously, you're on Instagram. You're on, obviously, the internet and the websites. So give yourself a shout-out. Where can people find you if they have any questions or want to purchase which is hopefully what a lot of people do after listening to this. Anyone who does use, I do urge you to get your shit tested. So give yourself a shout-out.
The website is PEDTestAustralia.com. And we're on Instagram, which is PEDTest Australia, and there's another one for NARCO Test Australia. And if anyone wants to email, have a chat, we're happy to talk to, coaches and athletes, whatever. Our email is pedtestaustralia@gmail.com.
Awesome. We'll definitely chuck that all up in the show notes. But again, thank you so much for giving up your time on a Friday, talking to two powerlifting enthusiasts.
Thanks for having me.
No, you're most welcome, and we will definitely put it all up. Hopefully people direct people to your website.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
A lot of powerlifting. Oh, it's a big question. It's really tricky to answer. And it is 21 words or sounds if you want to use sounds. Who you are and what you do. Brando counts them all. Watch out. Yep. I love it. How many words we get, Brando? Yep. 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 Yeah. Yep. Yep. And how long's the business been around for? When did you kick it off? Yep. 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 Ah! Huh. What a surprise. Yep. 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 Huh. Yep. Yep. Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 Mm. Yep. Yep. Uh-oh. Yep. 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 So will your tests, will they just kind of say how pure the product is versus what you bought, or will it actually say, hey, it's actually got X, Y, and Z in it as well as what you actually bought? Yep. 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 Yeah. Whew. Mm. Mm. Yep. Mm. Oh, Jesus. Do you get I was gonna say, do you get much feedback from the people that are using it on what sort of quality is sort of kicking around out there and like what's going on in the space? Oh, cool. Yep. Wow. Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's significant. That's cool that people can send those results into you though, and help kind of build that database as well, because that's a nice little knowledge point for everyone when they are sort of shopping around for what they want and where they're going to start sort of keep another way of having a harm reduction, like knowing that they shouldn't buy off X place because you look at the database and that's all rubbish, and they buy off Z place instead because they know that it's a better standard coming out of there. Yep. Yep. Ooh. Yep. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause that's the scary thing. What is the other stuff? Yep. Yep. And you're literally creating these products yourself. That's the cool thing. You're not just buying them from somewhere else and throwing them together with your label. Yep. 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 Wow. Yep. Yep. So that's another side of the business as well for narcotic style stuff as well. And are you seeing that's a reasonably popular space as well that people are trying to investigate and look at the things that they're using as well? Yep. Yep. Oh, oh, yep. 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 Mm. Yeah. Mm. 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 Yeah. Yeah, that'd be the tricky loophole. It's not like legally you should be jumping on the internet and buying your own and having a whole bunch of your own stuff floating around and testing on that, right? Yep. 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 And that's kind of the vision and the direction you want to take the business is just really be across literally everything that's available out there and have some sort of kit to be able to reduce harm for everyone. Yep. 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 Mm. 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 Yep. 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 That's what I was wondering. Like, what do you get a bit of a cross section of what your client base looks like? Is it powerlifting, bodybuilding, strongman community? Is there like what's the word? Image enhancing, like just guys and girls just trying to look better through PEDs. Like, is there just a cross section of everyone, or is there a more popular space that's sort of there? Yep. 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 Yeah. Everyone wants to look good at the beach. Yep. Mm. Yep. Mm. Mm. Yep. Oh wow. Wow. Mm. Huh. Yep. Wow. Yep. Mhm. Yep. Mm. Mm. Yep. Is internationally, is there other countries or other places you see doing similar or even a better job, or it's easier for them to operate in to do stuff like this, or what's going on out the rest? Yep. 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 And as a business, do you see that as opportunity for yourself to be able to market overseas as well for your testing kits? Yep. Yep. Mm. Yep. Yep. Ah. Mm. 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 Ve- Mm. Mm. Absolutely. And obviously a huge supporter of powerlifting too. From correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen your logo on some shirts. Obviously you throw some sponsorship around to some gyms and competitions as well. Yep. Yep. Mm. Yep. Because it mm. Yep. Yeah, I think that harm reduction conversation's it's a good one because you hear it talked a lot about in, recreational style drugs. That's been something that's been talked about for a long time, but poor old steroids just seem to be left out of the conversation and taboo topic, and nobody essentially cares or wants to know about it, and just police it and try and bash it out that way instead. Yeah. Ah. Yeah. Yep. No. Yeah. Well, they just saw the word. I think they just saw the word test and got excited. Yeah. Probably more powerlifters because we're not typically the sharpest tools in the shed, are we? Oh dear. And for training for yourself, mate, are you gunning for nationals over this hunt away yourself, or what do you hit for next competition for yourself? Yep. Oh, nice. Yep. 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 Mm. Well, every comp's a tax deduction for you now. And yes, that entry fees a tax deduction. Buying food and drink for you to be at the competition's a tax deduction. Competitions, competition, the whole thing. Fucking excellent. Yeah, I'm coming down to Kevy. Yes, you're coming, Brando. Good. Yeah. Yeah, Adelaide's going to be red hot. Would you do both nationals if you qualified into both? Yep. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. No way. So where do you see your business sort of 5 years from now? What's the goal? Yeah. Yep. 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 Wow. That's super cool. So yeah, in that 5 years time, you'd be, and I'm sure probably way sooner than that, you'll be 100% this and no more mining consulting. Mm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and it must be cool. Like the thing, so me and Brando really enjoy. Like you don't work a day in your life when you're doing something you really love, and like you live for gyms as well. and you're just playing in that space as well. Like that's a pretty rewarding spot to be in. That's unreal. And always curious question. With part of the testing stuff, do you ever get any horror stories of people sending you like, before I was testing, this sort of stuff used to happen to me, or heard about this and that, or oh yeah, good. Yeah, yep, yep, yeah. There's no. Yep. Shit. Mm, mm, yep. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah. All right, Alison. You're Neo in the Matrix. You can have the red pill and find out the truth, or the blue pill and continue not knowing. What are you taking? First, you probably got to test it though. In the nailed it. I was pretty happy. I was pretty happy about that one. Favorite lunch item. What's the best thing you can eat for lunch? Oh, damn, that'd be tasty. Yeah, yeah, I'd eat one of those. Favorite. Damn. What movie setting would you like to live in? Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be... Best advice you've ever been given? Oh, I like that. What question would you ask your pet? That'd be cool. Yeah. You want to eat a cake or a pie? Yeah, cake's nice. What board game or card game do you dominate at? Yes. Yes. Monopoly game. Oh, yeah. Let's go and do a podcast at the same time. Yes. I love that. What would your next tattoo be if you wanted to get one? Cool. That'd be cool. Favorite pizza? Oh yeah. You t- You've got 1 week to live. What are you doing? Nice. That's cool. Did, did you find any dinosaurs? What? A big penis bone. That's the best. Did you keep the penis bone? Mm. Mm. That's cool as shit. Fuck yeah. That's holy shit. That's cool. Yep, we'll go round two and do dinosaurs and penis bones. That could be the title. Sick. Absolutely.